Good afternoon, everybody. Tom Stewart here. Our guest today is Alonzo Adams, and this is Smart Business Moves. Alonzo, how in the heck are you?
I'm excellent, Tom. Thanks for having me, and I'm excited to be a part of this and talking about my favorite topic, leadership. So I'm ready to go, man.
Leadership is a big part of the recipe. With a lack of leadership isn't going to get you very far.
It's the foundation, man. It's the foundation to the success of businesses, families, industries, whatever you name it. The foundation of everything all revolves around leadership. And the biggest thing about leadership, influence.
You know, I'm really excited to have you here today. I don't think Liz is going to be able to make it. She's on the
Oh,
road, taking care
Liz.
of business. She's got a lot of balls in the air, but
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
we'll anchor this thing down and we'll make it work. We'll rock it. We've
And we
known
do
each
it.
other for how long, Alonzo? How long have we been doing
Oh
this?
man, what we got like 20 years, 2 decades here.
2 decades.
So if we cannot come up with something and make this show interesting and exciting, we just got to give up our whole roles of being legends in the cleaning
We
industry.
could
We are
we could we
cleaning
could,
royalty, man.
we could just digress and reminisce over the last 20 years and take care of the show, but that's indulging.
Yeah.
That's not what we're going to do
We
here.
wouldn't have enough time though. It would have to be multiple episodes.
But you're right. You're right. That might be a whole series, like a mini series.
That's definitely a Netflix series.
You know, we were talking, I guess, before we got on the air that we've got this whole ISSA convention coming up.
Yes,
I guess that was where we met, right?
we did. We met at the first one. Well, not there. No, we actually met at the. I guess that was the leadership convention we were calling it at that time when ARCP was actually have a event in San Antonio.
I'm not sure what I'm sharing here. Guess I'm working right. Um, yeah, it was. It was. It wasn't called ARCSI at the time.
No.
It was called ARCP, Association of Residential Cleaning Professionals.
Yes, that's who we were. We
And,
wore that. We wore that title for a while.
and Perry Phillips was the, I guess, executive director. He actually was the visionary that pulled all that together.
Yeah, we're going to be speaking about that too today. Visionaries.
Yeah.
Yes, he was a visionary of it, and you think about it. He was like. Hopefully, he's even listening. No, he had that wild idea to really unite these residential cleaning services around the world and well around the country at that time, and then we had a bigger vision to make it around the world. That's when we
Yeah.
became ARCSI, and we
And
brought in the
through,
international
through
component.
the international in there. Yeah.
Yeah, and we thought we that was big time when we put that international behind it, man. Wow, that was like putting new rims on a vehicle, you know.
And we were like explorers, We didn't even, we were going in a general direction, but we didn't know what was, over that next mountain range. We were just kind of wading out there and figuring it out as we went.
No, I mean, but guess what? Exploring, going into the depths of what this thing could really be, how many people it could touch, and how many great businesses were created, great leaders. It's been amazing. It's been an amazing journey. I'm thankful to be a part of it. Thankful to know people like yourself, Liz, and other, great professionals throughout this country because we would have not united if it wasn't for, Perry Phillips creating this way of actually bringing forth the importance of association and professionalizing this industry. So it's been awesome.
It's been
Oh,
a good ride.
somebody's already asking for Liz.
Liz is on a road trip. I'm not sure if she's in a plane or on the ground, in some foreign place, some other state. Anyway, yeah, she had business to take care of, so she's on the road. So
We will be
Alonzo
enough. We will be enough. We make sure you don't miss her that much.
yeah, we're going to hold down the fort today. So, um, just a quick plug here about what's coming up here in November. We have a annual convention and trade show for ISSA Residential, formerly known as ARCSI or ARCSI. Alonzo is going to be rocking it out. He's going to be presenting at that event. It's got a long list of talented speakers and trade show, meet a lot of vendors, get together and see friends. I mean, it's a good time.
It's networking at its best. It really is. People sometimes decide they want to go to this event, to learn. They want to find ways to grow their business or their companies. But the biggest caveat is the networking. The networking is just unbelievable. If you learn how to take advantage of it, it pays off major dividends. Good return on your investment of time.
And, a lot of times it's just that, one idea that you leave with that you're able to do something with that can make a huge difference.
Or a connection.
So if you haven't signed up and want to know more about it, I dropped the link in chat. I can tell you there's a Formula One race like immediately following convention. So hotel rooms are going to be hard to come by. If you're interested, you want to move sooner rather than later on this.
Always fun at those events and always good to see you guys again. So I'm looking forward to it.
I am as well. It's going to be here before you know it.
I know the time is down. I got like a countdown timer and everything. So I think we're officially at about, I think it's like 40, 45 days now to be exact. So it's going to be cool.
So let's get into it. We want to talk about leadership, and I can tell you that my experience working with you, Alonzo, over the last 20 plus years, that's kind of a cornerstone of your mode of operation. You've always been a leader. You've displayed those attributes, those traits, if you will. I know, like when we're putting ARCSI together, you stepped forward. You were one of the original board members. You were one of the very early presidents, and you've led a very successful cleaning company in the Philadelphia, Pennsylvania area.
Yes.
You're doing you're like a full-time coach now, pretty much, aren't you?
Full-time coach, doing what I love, being around entrepreneurs, helping entrepreneurs grow their businesses, grow as entrepreneurs, scale their business, and just be the best version of themselves. I think when you look at coaching, it can be transformational if it's done right, if it's embraced right and accepted right. So I consider myself a transformational coach and transferring people into their best versions of themselves.
I mean, I think that's really underappreciated.
Right.
I think a lot of us go through life thinking, I can do this on my own. I can figure, and we're entrepreneurs, right? So naturally it's like, hey, I got this. I don't need any help.
Oh, that was me.
But
that was me at first.
It's just that extra little bit of figuring out that one thing that you don't even see can make such a huge difference. I'm all about coaching. It took me, here's my thought on it. It took me a hell of a long time to figure out that, you hook yourself up with the right coaches, it can it's like Powerball. It can 10x where you're going.
Really?
And don't waste time beating your head against the wall for years only to kind of throw your hands up and then figure it out. Do it now.
No, you're so right, Tom, because I think about when I first got coached, was I 100% coachable? I wasn't 100% coachable, but I learned from being coached more. So the more I work with coaches, the better I became about being coachable. And I saw the return on it, because the return on it was just leading me to better ideas for my business, better approach, better planning, and way better execution.
And and a good coach will give you the opportunity to develop those skills. A good coach is gonna basically give you the tough love, and you're going to hear it and you're going to say, well, you don't understand. My business is different. How many times have you heard my business is different? You don't understand.
All the time, because I coach people in different industries. So everyone thinks, even I coach painters, plumbers, electricians. Again, we know residential cleaning people, janitorial cleaning people, and people that do all different industries, and they all say that same thing. But it's the foundations, it's the same principles that make businesses succeed. And that's what it comes down to, because some people come to coaches and they are looking for the secret sauce, right? The secret sauce. Give me the secret sauce. Give me the tricks. How did you do it? Give me even some hacks, right? But it all comes down to saying, you know what? I need skills. Skills are what pays the bills. And a good coach will work with you to foster and grow and create those necessary skills for you can have long-term success. Because if you're getting hacks and tricks, and I can tell you, hey, look, you can go do this, different tricks or something for your business, it's a short game. It's a very short game. But if you're playing the long game, learn skills, man. And that's the problem, is too many entrepreneurs, they don't have enough skills because they are, they're chasing content. It's a lot of YouTube stuff out there, and people got a lot of different followers and these influencers out there, and they don't understand. That's cool. That's cool, but you do need to have the necessary skills if you're going to survive. Like you and I, we've been in the game for a while, man. We've been battle tested, and you're looking at now. I'm going into 31 years in business, and you have to be able to navigate through all these different challenges. And if you don't have those necessary skills and you're grounded and rooted into that, you're going to really find yourself on the sidelines trying to stay out of the game. And I love being in the game, even at this stage.
Because we're all looking for that quick fix, that hack, the fast money, and every once in a while, you can get lucky, and that works for you. But the real path to success is the longer game.
It's all about the long game, man. Because listen, when you want to have staying power, longevity, you have to have those necessary skills through, like we're speaking about today, leadership. Because companies are always like, okay, well, I got to 500,000, I get to 1 million. How do I go beyond that? How do I go beyond that? When you want to get to the 2, the 3, and beyond that, it's going to take the leadership. The leadership is going to hold it together. The leadership is going to be in a place where this business can become, sellable and scalable.
So, in that train of thought, what are the top qualities an entrepreneur needs in order to be successful?
For me, one, I would have to say, the consistency, because I see people that are very inconsistent, even inconsistent in their planning. They're very inconsistent in strategies that they're putting together. They're very inconsistent of even their vision. So to me, consistency is a key trait. The next one I would say would definitely be being able to be visionary, to have a vision.
Okay.
If you have a vision and you can properly articulate it and communicate it, then you can take your company to a place where people didn't even think possible. You didn't even think possible. But people got to be able to get behind this vision. The vision has to be, and I said this before, and I got this from Cameron Harrell, where he says about having a vivid vision. The vision is so powerful. It's almost like, and it's a dream. The vision is a dream, but you can feel it. You can feel it. It's something that resonates, and people can really feel this down in their bones.
Are there other qualities that one would need in order to be successful?
The one I would definitely say is having self-awareness. I think that's huge, because
I love it.
Here's why I say self-awareness. People see themselves a certain way, right? You see yourself a certain way, but they show up differently in the world. The world sees you different. So it's important to know exactly how you show up. The self-awareness, the understanding what is possible with yourself, identifying your strengths, and as well as your weaknesses. There was something that I was listening to. It was from Kobe Bryant. They did this book on mumble mentality, right? And when you look at that with Mamba mentality, you look at this. Kobe said that he studied his opponents, which is his competitors. He studied them. And I see owners and leaders, they're not really looking at the field. They're not seeing what's out there. But Kobe studied them deeply. He knew their strengths, he knew their weaknesses. But Kobe said he didn't only do that, and going back to the self-awareness, he studied his strengths and his weaknesses. And how many people are really being honest with themselves when they really start to dissect themselves and look at, well, I'm not good in this area. I'm not strong in that area. When you don't do that through reflection, you don't grow. There's no upside to you. I always say have a version of yourself. When you get to maybe 2.0 or 3.0, you have to upgrade yourself. And you have to be aware of what you're lacking, where you're not at that point. And even we bring in coaching. Would a coach make me better? Would he take me to that place? Because there is absolutely some things that I could tap into that could take my company, my business to that next level. But I'm holding it back because I'm the bottleneck and I'm not even aware of it.
You're primarily working with like entrepreneurs who like own the business, who are like the CEOs, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
Again, they want to be CEOs, but they become owner operators.
They
So I
don't.
say,
I mean, that's part of the journey. There's a lot of people who own and operate businesses that don't even really understand what CEO means.
No, and they're stuck there because one, they're not realizing that for them to get to that next place, they're going to have that self-awareness. And again, looking at exactly what they're lacking, identifying skills that they don't have. And if you take a look at leadership, that's not what people come to me for, Tom. They don't come to me about leadership. They're coming to me, hey, you got a marketing idea? We don't have enough leads. Right now, we're not making our revenue number. And they're all about that. Leadership's not sexy.
No,
it's not.
No. And good management isn't either. It's really boring if you want to get right down to it. But, at the heart of it, is leadership. And, you mentioned, the things you mentioned in terms of like consistency, vision, self-awareness. There's some things that the CEO has to do. And if the CEO doesn't do it, it doesn't get done. And if the business doesn't even have an owner that recognizes that they need to be the CEO, I guess that's what you're seeing. You've got you think you got a marketing issue, you think you got a sales issue, you think you got a quality problem, you don't have enough money to make payroll on Friday. Those you're looking in the wrong place.
The wrong place. It's always the mirror, the man in the mirror, and being even the coach to be able to show them the mirror, because everyone will find something to blame. And it usually doesn't start with them, but they will find it's not enough lead. It's the economy. That's the thing right now. It's economy. So the recession. But are we leading in the right way to have our focus right, to have our attention and our energies in the right place? I see too many times where leaders will sit back and they will let things be dictated and not dictating the pace or the momentum. And then we look around quarter after quarter, we start to see decline. And that's when you're seeing the absence of leadership. Where the leader shows up is a leader that's making the adjustments and the necessary corrections.
The difference between making it happen versus letting it happen.
Yes.
You let it happen, it'll happen without you. But, and sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes you don't.
Sometimes it is. Sometimes it comes down to luck. It does. What's funny, me and my son was talking about when you speak about luck and how things happen is like, we looked at like Tom Brady, the great Tom Brady. It's like, man, this guy is just great. And we look and say, well, this guy was drafted late. He was late. No one ever saw it coming. They didn't see it coming with Tom Brady. And I don't want to say it was luck that Drew Brees got hurt, but Drew Brees got hurt. So Tom Brady went in for him. And because Tom Brady went in, he played a hell of a game and he became the guy. Did he get lucky? I would say so, because he wasn't going to start any other way.
Well, what is it like? Success is when preparation runs into luck or opportunity. And, he did the work and he was prepared. And when the opportunity presented himself, he was ready to do it. And,
Ready to go.
that's a lot of what business is as well. I mean, you do the hard work, and we're gonna, as we dive into this leadership thing, we're gonna be, I got a feeling you're gonna tell us that it doesn't happen accidentally. I mean, it doesn't. It ain't about luck. It's about putting the work in.
Yes.
And then we've got to wait for the opportunity. And sometimes we can make our own opportunity, and sometimes the opportunity falls in our lap. But if we haven't put the hard work in, the opportunities are going to come and go, and we're not going to be able to do anything with them.
Oh, absolutely. Totally agree about that.
How does one, start building these leadership skills? You talk about, being a visionary, you start, the consistency, the self-awareness. Okay, that's step one in the process, but what does an entrepreneur do with that? How do they build those skills?
Well, the one thing is how some of the skills are built. They're just built through sometimes this to being tested. Some are about tested, and sometimes I see entrepreneurs resisting. And what I mean by resisting is that they stay into a comfort place, a place of comfort. Okay, so if you're in a place of comfort, then you're not actually doing the necessary things that will grow you as a leader because you get too comfortable in your day to day, in your role. You're not taking any risk. You're not taking any chances. And you're not putting yourself in a position to be more resilient to deal with these challenges that's coming your way. So I would say meet challenges head on. Don't back down from them. Meet them head on. Don't minimize yourself and what's possible. Leaders that have been battle tested, as we said earlier about being battle tested, they're the ones that they pick up endurance, because leadership, this is a marathon, man. It's a lifestyle. You understand? My whole thing with leadership, it's a lifestyle. I just don't put on the uniform when I step foot in the office. I don't put on a uniform when I step on a stage. This is a lifestyle. It's at home. It's 24/7. I drive my wife crazy.
You don't punch out and leave it at work until the next day.
That's right. And this is a difference to how you have to understand if you are going to decide to be that leader. And people decide they don't want it, right? We have people that work for us that don't want that responsibility. They don't want that weight. They don't want that obligation. They even say, what was it? Charles Barkley said years ago, I'm not anyone's role model, right? People are so comfortable now with jumping in the back seat or the passenger seat that they don't want that role, that level of responsibility. And we've been seeing leaders being passive, and they're not growing and materializing into what is possible, what they could be, because they want to be in the back hiding. There's even some things that I've heard where, the leader wants to basically put someone in a position, but he wants to go off and do something else. But if you do that, you still have to make sure that you groomed other leaders that they can be able to pick up where you left off. That's why we see some companies that excel and some companies that didn't excel. Then you see your leader having to come back in. Isn't that what happened with Disney? We saw Disney had
to do that. Starbucks has done that a couple of times.
What's going on there? I mean, Jobs can come back, right? Steve Jobs can come back. So basically you saw Apple far exceeded Jobs. That to me is classic leadership, and having the proper succession in place, that you could have, a Tim Cook come in and he could not 10x this thing. We're talking about 50x in this thing.
Oh yeah.
Which is just a tribute to where leaders show exactly how good they were. Where you see other companies, they put people in place and they're maintainers. They're not extenders. That's what I call it. Maintainers and extenders, where they can extend that business beyond where the business is currently at.
So, if I'm listening to this, questioning, my leadership skills, and I was like, yeah, I need to be a better leader. I need to be a better, visionary, consistency, self-awareness. What do I need to start doing? And when I wake up tomorrow, what do I need to be doing differently?
I think the first things what you need to start doing is making sure that one, you have the right team. And then the one thing is with growing your leadership is working with your team and uh, taking your teams to where they're capable of, taking them beyond where they're at today, and taking your time to value them with the right connections. Because here's what I was actually coaching a client with today is that we want our people to be connected, right? Whatever, if they work, remotely, whatever, we want them to feel connected to the company. We want them to feel connected to the vision, but we are not connecting with them. So the one thing about with the leadership is working on how we're connecting with our team, how we're connecting with our staff. Connections to me is huge because behind the connections, what we said what leadership is just influence. You want to be a better leader, you're going to have to work on how you influence people, not manipulate people, but how you influence people. And most of that influence is going to is how you're showing up as a leader. That's the biggest influence is, again, don't tell me, but show me. Be that example. So that's where I've seen the best leadership grow is through these ways of working on how you're really showing up and putting in the work with reading books. Are we reading books? Are we reading on leadership? Are we really interested in leadership and getting a better understanding of the leadership?
Let's talk about that just for a second. If how do I become a better leader? If nothing else, let's just read a book and just Google go to Amazon or just Google leadership books. I mean, we could probably give a list of recommendations here, but I mean, there's a lot of classes. You can't go wrong. There's not a bad book out there to read on leadership.
That's true.
I mean, there might be, but if you Google it, it's not going to pop up.
Right.
There's
you can get something. Yes. But John Maxwell happens to be one of my favorite when it comes down to leadership topics.
I'm sorry, which one?
John Maxwell. Maxwell, he's loaded in leadership. It's just a great place to go if you're looking for leadership.
So, give me an example. I mean, you have, been a leader for 30 years within your own businesses, and you've been coaching a lot of other business owners, entrepreneurs on leadership. Can you think of an example of, what, you've learned, from your entrepreneurial experience as it pertains to leadership?
The biggest thing I would say, Tom, is learning that you have to adjust your leadership style. You have to be adjusted because everybody, is so different and they come from different backgrounds. They come from different cultures, but you have to be able to, one, listen. You have to be able to relate, to different people from different backgrounds. And you have to be in a place where you don't have to have all the answers. And when you present yourself in a way where you don't have all the answers and you're opening up for other people to be collaborative, you're opening up for people to be, transparent, to be who they are. I think it's very important to understand that you have to change your style and adjust to different people and, personality types. When I see a leader that's just locked in and they're just headstrong on that one leadership style, they tend to have problems and issues, and it comes back and it hurts them, and they don't fully capitalize as they can. Because when you think about building a business, and this is what anybody that's tuning in for this is probably saying, okay, how do I build a business? It's not about how you build a business. How do you build people that build a business? Because it's the people that build the business.
I love that. And being able to adjust. It's like being a carpenter, and the only thing you have in your tool bag is a hammer. Well, that's great if I need to drive nails, but what happens if I need to cut a board in half or something? If I don't have, you need to have multiple tools in your bag if you're going
Yes.
to be an effective leader.
I've
And
learned that the hard way.
yeah,
Yeah, I've learned that the hard way. I have one way of leading, and that one way of leading is not for everybody.
in the idea that I am the leader, I need to have all the answers, and I'm going to provide all the answers. And you know, in that frame of mind, you don't listen a lot. It
No,
really doesn't matter what anybody has to say anyway. You've got all the answers.
right. And that's how. And let's think about what you said. How, if that's the case, how are you going to have people connected to the vision? Right. This is why people don't know the vision of the leaders, or they don't know the vision of the company that they work for. And this is why people show up for a paycheck. They don't show up for the mission, but they show up for a paycheck. And these leaders are struggling to say, well, how do I get my people to show up for the mission? How do I get them to do that when everybody else is just showing up for the paycheck?
And you mentioned earlier about building a team. And even before that, we were talking about, we're CEOs running our businesses, and a lot of times we don't even realize we're CEOs. And there's certain things, if a CEO doesn't do it, nobody's going to do it.
Right.
And building the team is part of it. And you can't build a team unless you're listening. And okay, you might, even if you have the answer, don't cheat somebody else out of the team on the team the opportunity to provide the answer, because that's how they grow. As
Yeah.
as the leader, if there's somebody else can do it, let them do it, because they're developing their skills at that point.
And that's what you're doing. You're helping develop people. And that's why I said if these people are developed properly, they're the ones that can build that business. And if they feel and invested into the business, and they can see the fruits of their labor, then you got people that have now bought into the mission. And that's what I'm after. I'm after people that's about the mission. You know, where are we going? Where are we headed? Who wants to be a part of this mission here? And we have seen where we have done horrible at that, and we have seen where we have had to grow and improve and have people that's showing up for that. But that's when we did our best communication. It's when we communicated clearly what that vision was and we laid it out. When the vision was a little bit, fluffy, or it was just something we said, sporadically, it's nothing to connect to. It's nothing to connect to. And two, no one's saying, how do they fit into it? How do they fit into this vision? Is it your vision or is it our vision?
Andy Grove was like one of the old CEOs at Intel, and this is back when Intel had a ton of game. And he took them and he was like one of the key people that made them a powerhouse, back in the day. And he spent most of his time training and developing people, building an organization. That's what a CEO does. And the vision, and I'm going to throw strategy in there as well, because that's at that kind of is vision's first cousin. You take your vision, then you develop a strategy to meet your vision. And you're the CEO. The CEO isn't doing this, it ain't happening. And if it ain't happening, you're not going very far.
That's right. But here's what happens is that you start to see other things. You start to see other things. And again, we know entrepreneurs are always jumping at shiny objects, right? And 1 minute they got the company going to the left, 1 minute they got the company going to the right. They go to a convention, they come back with a new idea, they hear what someone else is doing in their business. We should be doing that. We need to implement that. And they get away from the vision, and people don't believe it, and people don't follow it because they're like, okay, what's the flavor of the month? It changes too much. And so if the vision was so important, why are we still not operating in that manner?
So, listening and developing your people, and not being the first one with the answer, giving, your key people the opportunity to develop their leadership skills, all of that is certainly part of the recipe. But, you know, we both have had times in our professional lives where, you know, it gets hot in the kitchen and, you know,
All
the
that good stuff that
pressure's
we
on and somebody needs to step up. And, you know, ultimately, you know, the buck stops with the CEO, right? I mean,
yeah, it
do
does.
you have any tips for how to deal with those high pressure situations?
Well, I guess we learned a lot from COVID, right? I mean,
That was good, wasn't it?
we
Yeah.
learned a lot from COVID, man. We saw meltdowns, we saw breakdowns, we saw a lot. You know, people again couldn't handle what was being thrown at them. And as we say, is building that being resilient. And I love entrepreneurs that are resilient. You know that they're going to keep coming, regardless of it. They're not going to step back. They're going to keep people optimistic. They're going to have the right message to keep people going. But they're going to look out for their people because too, when COVID happened, people were kind of on the fence. Do we send them out? Do we not? What do we do? How do we protect them? Because you still got to show people that you care. You got to have that same thing with the empathy too. But the one thing is that you still, as a leader, got to stand in the face of the fire. You got to face the fire. You got to be able to show up every day, even when you don't want to, and still show people we're not going anywhere. We're not backing down, and we're going to keep pressing forward. We are going to be challenged. We are going to be challenged.
You mentioned earlier, you know, the leader is a big part of that is influencing the right behaviors out of everyone in your organization. And, you know,
Oh
I
yeah.
guess under those situations, you're leading whether you want to or whether you even realize it. And that, you know, if you're not doing it the right way, then you're leading people in the wrong way. If your behavior is, oh God, we're screwed, then you are, because everybody else is gonna buy into that and they're gonna follow.
Oh yeah. That's why again, still that self awareness comes back in. If you had that meeting, what was the message you delivered? How did you deliver it? How did you sound? And the one thing is, how are you walking through the door? You know, where's your head at? Is your head hung low? Is your chest up? Is your shoulders back? How are you showing up? And we're still again working with our people, telling them those same things because I can get behind a leader that shows boldness, that's courageous, that has courage, that's confident. You know, those are the things that's essential that you can feel is like, I feel safe. I feel safe under that leadership.
So, if I'm gonna be a successful leader, I just need to kinda give up on other aspects of my life, work-life balance, throw that out the window, and I'm all in terms of, leading my company, right?
Work-life balance, man, that's another subject in itself. When I think about it in this essence. One, I don't believe in it. I don't believe there's a such thing as balance, like the pendulum going up and down.
Mhm.
It's always going to be going up and down,
It's
and
never it's never gonna be, like, balanced, like
it's never going to be
50/50.
balanced. It's
Yeah.
impossible. I mean, it defies logic. It really does. It's not possible because there are going to be some times in business, and you've had it, Tom, and I have, where we are going to work late. We are going to work 7 days. We are going to be deeply committed, and we're there, man. We got to accomplish it. We have the momentum that's going, and we may have to go like that for 30 days. 30 days. But the problem is if it's not properly communicated to your family, okay? Not to your family, and not being realistic about really understanding about what you're going after, how long it's going to take, a reasonable amount of time. Maybe you say this is going to be a big lift, a big project. Look at a time frame. Look at, is this a 30-day thing? Is this a 15-day thing? What kind of hours is this going to take? This is being realistically to communicate to everybody that's involved. How available are you? And that sometimes you may have to ask your wife to pick up the pieces for you. You may, hey, honey, I'm going to be home late. I'm not going to be able to make maybe a game or something. Or sometimes that happens. We're human. We are human. We're imperfect. So when we're going through these different things, If we properly communicate it, then we have people that's understanding. We have people that one can accept that versus we're not saying anything or we're constantly in the neglect phase. You cannot keep going at a certain pace and neglect your health. You can't neglect your family. You can't neglect that, even if you're spiritual, whatever. You have to have some way to have things in proper perspectives. And
Do
there
you
cannot
know,
be an overindulgence in things.
as entrepreneurs, most of us, share this affliction of being overly optimistic.
Yes.
This isn't going to take as, it's not going to take that long. It's not going to be that hard. I can do this. And, really that's probably part of the recipe. If we didn't think that way, we wouldn't try to begin with, right?
Yes.
But,
Yes.
so
But
how do you find that balance? I mean, it's like, okay, what, I think I can do this quicker than what I probably really can. I know I struggle with that.
we all do, but it comes down to commitment to things. I mean, Stephen Covey put it well. How we have to really prioritize different things in our lives,
Yeah.
and that's not easy. He says, and it sounds easy, but it's not easy because there's just some things that we desire, some things that we want to accomplish, some things that we want to do, but we have to go back and say when we're planning, right? Are we planning around what's around all the important things in our lives? So we identify what's important in our life. If we say it's family, if we say on our health and everything else, they have to be at the top. They have to be at the top. And then all the other planning is around that or underneath it. But we have to identify what's truly important to us. And I think that's the issue is that we don't all know what's important. Maybe we have success high up, and we want accolades and those different things. And there is sacrifices that come with all that. There's sacrifices, and it does sacrifices to your health, your family, all that. It is sacrifices for all of that. And you've had to do it. I've had to do it myself. Have I done it the right way? No, I haven't done it the right way, but it's no perfect way. But if we do reflect, and the key thing is reflect on where our time is going, where our time is being invested. Do we make the necessary course corrections to not keep going in 90 days or 120 days where, wow, well, you haven't really taken care of yourself, right? You haven't, gave time to your family. You're going to find yourself in a place where you're going to not have the proper purpose to what you're doing.
So, what you're describing here would be considered, I guess, a pitfall that an experienced entrepreneur could fall into. Are there other pitfalls that we should be looking out for?
Well, being a workaholic, being overworked, some things what I see the other pitfalls is where if you're being too much into this, you lose yourself. You don't have any outlets or hobbies, and this is all that you do. And then we're all getting old, and how long can we keep up at this pace? And once it's done, what else do we do?
Right, right.
I mean, I love what I do. I know you love what you do, and we enjoy it. I actually had a period where I retired, man. I did like a Tom Brady retirement, and then I ended up coming back and getting back in the game.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I'm not having as much fun, And
So, I guess along that thought, you're spending a lot of your time, mentoring other entrepreneurs, and maybe this is a secret, maybe it isn't, but you grow from that as well as helping the people you're mentoring grow. So
so
would
much.
you recommend to others to be looking to take their experiences and mentor other leaders, and if so, how would you go about doing that?
Oh man, it's one of the greatest things that I have done with starting out with men being a mentor and being in mentorship because I actually was a chair for the entrepreneurs organizations and we headed up the mentorship program and we really kicked ass. We actually had the biggest mentorship program in the country, biggest in the
Wow.
country in ours,
Okay.
and very rewarding. So there's ways that people can do it through small things like boys clubs, through your church. You can do it through the association as well. And Tom, you and I have done it many times to other business owners that were, in situations where they were struggling, they couldn't figure it out. And we helped them get to the next level, helped them create a better life for themselves, their families, and just seeing the changes in people I see that show up at these conventions now that I've mentored and seen where their businesses are now. It's just a great rewarding feeling, because everything's about, what you put into it and you get back, you mentorship, you get so much back, way more than what you put out. And it has helped me see better ways to how I could really help my staff as well through the mentorship. But I think people should start with first mentoring people with inside their company, people in their churches, and just really finding a way that they can put their times and efforts into creating some type of mentorship that they're proud of and that they can continuously do. Because I continuously do it myself, even though I coach. Mentorship is different.
Okay. And you're developing skills as part of that. And you're growing as a leader as part of that.
Yes, because you have to deal with people again. You're dealing with their emotions. Entrepreneurship. People really don't understand how much emotionally wired entrepreneurs are. There's some emotional wired people,
Yeah.
and the emotions can be all over the map.
So, what's the difference between mentoring versus coaching?
I would say, in the mentorship, it's coaching is more you listening, right? You need to listen more as a coach. You really need to not be this advice giver, because coaching is letting people figure out things on their own. Okay. Coaches don't have to have all the answers. I don't think that's a sign of a good coach. I think the sign of a good coach is letting people figure it out on their own and letting them grow.
Asking the questions to help them see the gaps in their thinking.
Absolutely, because when we're supplying all the answers, you're basically just doing something I told you to do. You need to feel a part of it. You need to feel like you need to own it. You need to. And if it was the wrong choice, you can correct it. And when you're in that position where people come up with their own ideas and they solve their own problems, they are in a position to grow quicker as leaders. Completely. And they feel a sense of satisfaction when that's created as well. Mentorship is on the other side. I will say I'm grooming people. There are things that I am giving, more feedback on. Mentorship is I'm actually we're going more even in a personal space, and we're working from that standpoint. As to coaching, it tends not to be as personal. It can be more on the professional side.
Mentorship
Unless you're doing life coaching, of course. I don't do life coaching,
Okay. That is so good. So it's the mentoring is a little more prescriptive, a little more almost like a variation of a type of teaching, I guess.
Yeah, I teach when I go through. I teach people things a lot that I learned. I share a lot about the mistakes that I made, and we're helping these people again, just not just from the professional standpoint. It's just you're really more committed to them in the sense of their personal well-being as well.
Well, we're running up on the top of the hour here, so I know that you are a professional coach and you
Yes.
work with a lot of entrepreneurs. You've invested. I mean, you've developed a lot of skills, and 30 plus years you've been an entrepreneur. But above and beyond that, you've invested in a lot of coaching yourself and a lot of training, and you've augmented that. You've built upon that. You've 10x that, and now you're working with other entrepreneurs. Could you tell us a little bit about how those that activity works?
The one thing is great about working with my clients and what I help them do is that one, I look at, we talk about the strengths and weaknesses, right? Strengths and weaknesses. I do want to know who I'm working with. And I do want them to understand is that I'm there to support their vision. I'm there to support their vision. If they don't have a vision, I'm helping them get clear on their vision. You know, the one thing is that you see on my website is that transformation happens by simplifying and removing complexity to dramatically improve their performance. So when you look at what I do with entrepreneurs, I work on how they could be exceptional performer, how to really become more efficient, how they could excel, how they can become at the top of their game. That's why when I coach people, it's like, I hear them, hey, do you know how to do this? Do you have, no. Let's look at where you're at. Let's look at how we can transform you into who you need to be to get what you're after. The one thing is I know from entrepreneurs is sometimes they don't understand. They need to think about who do they need to be to get to what they want. Okay, because I will coach a guy and they were like, well, I'm not going to do that because that's not me. That's not me. Well, we're not focused on what's you right now. We're focused on what you can be.
Mm-hmm.
Not you in the present sense, but what you can be. And that's going to result in transformation. You know, that's going to mean, again, that you're going to have to do some hard things. You're going to have to let go of some bad habits. You're going to have to create new habits. You're going to have to develop in the way of being that top performer. So I push people to be at a exceptional entrepreneur by learning the necessary skills. So we're about skill building, man. We build serious skills that make people better entrepreneurs. So when they become that, that business is not going to be stopped by them. It's going to grow with them. Too many people are not working on those necessary skills. That's why the business is not going to ever go beyond where the leader is currently at.
Is there an accountability component?
Absolutely. I'm constantly looking at exactly guys that do what they say they're going to do. And I shouldn't say guys and girls, but I'm looking for people that's going to do what they say they're going to do. But we're gonna map it out and flesh out what's the real important things to focus on and do, because sometimes no one really knows where to start. They don't know where to start. So we get granular and saying, okay, what is the real high level important things that we should dive into and be focused on? And that changes from quarter to quarter, quarter to quarter. But we're looking at everything from a weekly, monthly, and quarterly standpoint that's actually going to help them excel as an entrepreneur and their business go to that next level. Because every business right now is looking for the right leader, man. And I'm working on building and giving those companies the right leader.
So if, doing the hard work and making those changes is scary for you, and it can be, it's like, gee, I don't know if I want to work that hard. I don't know, but, having a coach and creating the accountability makes it a whole lot easier,
Well, I don't coach everybody, Tom. I have turned down a lot of people, because if someone's not committed, man, it's a waste of my time. If you're not committed, you got to be all in, man. You got to be willing to do the hard work, do the hard things, come out of your comfort zone. Realize right now, like I said, who you are is not who you're going to be after we do work. And man, I'm gonna show you that mirror, and I'm gonna put that pressure on you. And some people get afraid of that. They do. They get afraid of it. It's like, change me, change.
But the part that it's hard to appreciate is if you commit, then you'll be able to make change that you wouldn't otherwise be able to make, or you wouldn't have the
Right.
I've been working with a personal trainer just to work out, and tomorrow morning I'm going to be at the gym at 5 o'clock. And I
Wow, man.
promise you, if I wasn't working with a trainer, I would be in bed tomorrow morning at 5 o'clock. I'm
Yes.
better off for it, but I need the trainer in order to make that happen.
Man, I've had my trainer now, Tom, for probably about 15 years.
Uh-huh.
And I have a gym in my home. So I have a gym in my home. And I do that during the week, but I work with my trainer on the weekend because that Saturday is hard to get up and get into a workout. And because I have that trainer, I paid for that trainer, I'm there. I show up. I do the work. I do the work. And two, I don't want him. I don't want to be a waste of his time. You know what I'm saying? I
Right.
want to be that guy that comes in. I'm 53, man. I want him sometimes to think, man, this guy looks like he's 33. You know, he's going at it like he's 33, committed, dedicated, and willing to put in that hard work. So I think it's a great thing you're doing it, man. Really is.
So that's what you're doing for entrepreneurs, for business owners. So if I'm listening to this and it's like, I really do believe that I should be performing at a higher level. I should, we all need to be the leader that our people or organization wants us to be. And if that inspires you as an entrepreneur, what's the best way for me to learn more about how you can help them get there?
Connect with me, Facebook, Instagram. See me right here on my website, Alonzo Adams Coaching. Reach out to me. We can do a good fit call, see if there's a match, see if there's compatibilities. I would like to see which I would like to hear your vision. I like to hear where you want to take your business, your company, and who do you want to be as that entrepreneur. Who do you want to be as that leader? So those are the things that's important to me. If I connect with your story, I think your story has to be moving, to me, and we connect. Love to work with people like that. Tom, the whole thing is just even being a part of the association here with the residential division of ISSA. It's I love being around entrepreneurs, but I really love those entrepreneurs that's fired up. They're driven. You can see it in their eyes, man, and they don't care about putting in the work. They show up on time, religiously, relentlessly, no matter what's going on, how they feel. They show up. They're there. They're committed. If we set goals, we set some parameters. They're all in, man. They buy in. They get it. They just want to be the best version of themselves.
And working with the right coach, just like going to the gym in the morning, you're going to find that, you're lifting more weight and you're pushing yourself harder and you're accomplishing more than what you would on your own.
Exactly. So to me, coaching, when I first heard about it, about getting into coaching, that wasn't my first thing, but it was a natural fit because, like, Alonzo, you're already doing it, man. Doing it.
Well, I dropped the URL to your website in chat. So
Great, thank you.
if you're just the least bit curious, just reach out and have a discussion with Alonzo. Like I said, I've got the deepest respect for Alonzo and the work that he does. And I have no doubt that if you're an entrepreneur that's looking to develop your leadership skills and to make an impactful change in your business and your community and just the stuff that's important to you, Alonzo could be an important part of the recipe.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Tom. Thanks for having me too. I really
I appreciate you being here. It's been a while, so we'll have to make a date to do this again before too long. But before then, we'll probably be seeing each other in Las Vegas in what, a month and a half, maybe?
Yeah, we'll be there.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
that's going to be awesome.
Man, how many times have we been to Vegas together? It's been a lot.
It's been a few. It's been a few.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to wrap it for today. This is Smart Business Moves. We'll be back next Wednesday, 5:00 Eastern. Alonzo, thanks again. We'll see you soon.
Tom, hey, I always appreciate it. Always.
Take care, everybody.
Thanks.